Let me show you something worth noticing. You're checking your account again, aren't you? Here's what most people will never admit. The reason they're not wealthy has nothing to do with what they're not doing. It's what they can't stop doing. I'm going to show you why your best financial decision this year might be making no decisions at all, and why the smartest people I know treat boredom like a performance metric. Let's start with something uncomfortable. Right now, someone half as educated as you, earning less than you, is building more wealth than you'll see in the next decade. Not because they found some secret, but because they stopped looking for one. They bought something reasonable 7 years ago and haven't logged in since. And while you've been researching, comparing, pivoting, while you've been actively managing, they've been passively winning. Here's the part that stings. Every time you make a move, you're probably making a mistake. Not because you're wrong about the move itself, but because the move interrupts something more valuable than being right. It interrupts time. I've watched this pattern destroy more wealth than market crashes ever could. Someone builds a solid position. It starts working. Then right when compounding should take over, they touch it. They rebalance because it makes sense. They take profits because it feels smart. They pivot because sitting still feels reckless. And what they're really doing is paying taxes and fees to feel productive. Think about the last financial decision you made, not the one you're proud of, the one you made because doing nothing felt wrong, because your portfolio needed attention, because staying the course seemed too passive. That decision probably cost you more than you think. Here's what nobody tells you about wealth building. Your enemy isn't ignorance. It's intelligence applied too frequently. The person refreshing their brokerage app isn't more engaged than the person who checks twice a year. They're just more expensive to themselves. Every click is an opportunity to interrupt compounding. Every adjustment is a chance to sell low and buy high while calling it strategy. I've seen people with mediocre plans and incredible discipline retire early. And I've watched brilliant strategists reach 60 with nothing but a history of smart pivots. The difference wasn't information, it was restraint. Let me show you how this actually works. Compounding doesn't care about your intentions. It doesn't reward thoughtfulness. It only responds to one thing: uninterrupted time. You can't keep digging up the roots to check if they're growing, but that's exactly what constant monitoring becomes. A way to feel involved that guarantees worse outcomes. The market drops 8%, and you sell to preserve capital. You just stop the process. The trend shifts, and you rotate to stay ahead. You just reset the clock. Each time you act, you're not optimizing, you're restarting. And here's the brutal math. Most of the wealth you'll ever build will come from things you did years ago and then forgot about. Not the position you opened last month, not the strategy you're researching now. The thing you bought in 2018 and stopped thinking about. The rental property you meant to sell but never got around to listing. The index fund you set up and ignored. The decision you made once and never revisited. Those boring, neglected positions. They're probably your best performers. But we don't talk about those wins because there's no story. I did nothing for 9 years doesn't sound like expertise. It sounds like luck. Except it's the opposite. Doing nothing when everything in you screams to do something. That's not luck. That's discipline most people never develop. Here's what separates people who stay comfortable from people who build real wealth: their relationship with discomfort. When the urge to act shows up, when every headline feels like it demands a response, when sitting still starts feeling irresponsible, that feeling isn't a problem to solve. It's information. It's telling you that compounding is working and your brain hates it. Because compounding is boring. There's no decision to make, no research to consume, no way to feel smart about it. It just sits there growing while you do nothing, and for most people, that's unbearable. I watched someone recently exit a position after 6 years. It had tripled quietly. No drama, no story, just silent, boring growth. When I asked why they sold, they said it felt like time. But what they meant was, it stopped being interesting. There was nothing left to manage, no catalyst to anticipate, no thesis to defend. So they sold, paid the taxes, and found something new to think about. They traded wealth for activity, and they'll probably do it again in 5 years. Here's the pattern you need to see. The people with money aren't the ones doing the most. They're the ones doing the least. They set something up when they were younger, and then practiced the rarest skill in finance. They left it alone. They ignored better opportunities. They sat through drawdowns. They watched everyone else get excited about new strategies and did absolutely nothing. Not because they're passive, but because they understand that inaction, applied correctly, compounds exactly like interest. Most people never learn this because it feels wrong. It feels like you're not taking your finances seriously, like you're being lazy. But here's the truth nobody wants to hear. If you're thinking about your money every week, you're probably making it worse. The spreadsheet tracking every move, it's costing you. The brokerage app on your home screen, it's expensive. That Sunday routine where you rebalance and optimize, you're paying for the feeling of control. And the cost isn't just fees and taxes, it's the compounding you're interrupting, the years you're resetting, the growth you're canceling by being smart too often. I've learned to spot wealth from a distance now. It's not the person with 12 accounts and a strategy. It's the person who barely remembers their password. It's not the one reading every market analysis. It's the one who set an automatic contribution in 2016 and hasn't logged in since. They're not smarter. They're just less active. And in finance, that's usually the same thing. So here's what I'm asking you to consider. You probably already know what you should be doing. You've read the books, you understand the concepts, you have a reasonable plan. The question isn't what to do next. It's whether you can stop doing anything at all, whether you can sit with the discomfort of nothing happening, whether you can ignore the next opportunity, whether you can let something work without helping it. Because the wealth you want isn't hiding in the next decision. It's trapped behind all the decisions you keep making. And the fastest way forward might be learning to stand completely still. Thanks for watching. Subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss what's next.